G'day, I'm Owen. You've joined the pub test, and we are continuing the series on the victims of Jack the Ripper. This is the fourth one in the series that will be put into a long form video. This one's got some heavy topics in it, just saying. So be warned, there will be a little warning in the main video too. But if you are hanging around to watch this, then let's get into it. So the fourth person on this list is Emma Smith. And just as a warning, I don't go into graphic details about what happens to these people, but you will get the concept of this one, and it is very brutal. So if you can't really stomach that sort of thing, then just jump ahead. But Emma Smith was around 45, so mid-40s. She herself had claimed that she was a widow, but then she also claimed she'd just left her husband. Suggested that she had a couple of children at least, but they weren't really in contact or not wanting to help her out of her situation, because it would appear that for about 10 years she had been working as an unfortunate and living in lodging houses. And it's a bit of an anomaly, this one, because the differing reports we read about Emma are quite interesting, I suppose, because even though she was working as an unfortunate, and at the time those types of people were not held in high regard at all, it seemed that she had a little bit of a standing. People respected her. And yet, on the other side to that coin, we see that as part of the job, obviously, you'd go out and drink, and if she got some drinks into her, she could get rather feisty, and it was not uncommon for her to get involved in a couple of brawls here and there. But it was on April the 3rd, 1888. So this is less than a week after the attack on Ada Wilson at her house. So we're only around that time, but Emma Smith, as per usual, heads out to work for the night, leaving home round about 6 p.m. Obviously, you're having drinks to try and find your clients, because that's where your clients are going to be. And then normally she would come home very late into the night and obviously pay for the room, and that would be her life. This night did not work out that way. On the way home, she gets attacked by at least 3 people, maybe 4. So these 3 or 4 people attacked her in a very personal way, and then on top of that, took an item and put it into her abdomen, which no doubt would have caused excruciating pain. But they left her there to die, and she was bleeding badly. It said that she took her scarf and tried to stem the bleeding and got back to her lodging house, where a friend of hers noticed her situation and said, "You've got to go to the hospital." And it said that she was reluctant to go, but they took her anyway. The surgeon who was on duty noticed the injuries to her and realized it was not going to be a good outcome. But the police come and get a report, and she is dropping in and out of consciousness, but she manages to give the description of what happened. So at least 3 people attacked her, and it was possibly 4. Upon completion of giving the report to the police, she dropped into a coma, and then 4 days later passes away. So how does this one make the Jack the Ripper list? How have people made that possible connection? Well, on this channel, we have talked about the High Rip Gang as the possible perpetrators of the Jack the Ripper crimes. Now, the way these crimes were done definitely fit the High Rip Gang, no doubt whatsoever. Because they were just these vicious bludgers, but they were from Liverpool. Now, did they come down to Whitechapel area? Well, it has been suggested that they did. But there's also another gang theory that we haven't covered yet, which actually is written down in some police reports. So that is also interesting. But it's possible, though, that this was just a group of low-life, bludgeoning individuals as well. Maybe not an organised gang. But for us to tie this into the Jack the Ripper crimes, we would have to accept that it wasn't just a single solitary person performing the crimes, because she clearly stated it was at least 3 people who attacked her. So many people discount Emma Smith as being on the Ripper list. But what is interesting, and part of this series is highlighting the reporting and the attitudes of people. This made a little bit of press, but it became more well known later when Ripper hysteria starts taking over. And people start looking back at some of these crimes saying, well, maybe this was the start of the Jack the Ripper saga. But I just have to say here at this part of the video, and it is a bit of a rant, the saddest part to this whole thing is we only know the Emma Smith story because of a possible connection to Jack the Ripper. Her attack was absolutely diabolical. But the thing is, these attacks still happen today, and many of them hardly make any news either. So we've got these sick, disgusting, cowardly, low-life individuals perpetrating the most despicable crimes still today. And so the story of Emma Smith, I think, needs to be told, not just from her point of view, but for all the victims of such atrocities who may never, ever get a mention and who may never get remembered. Now that I've got that off my chest, it's time that we move forward to the 5th person on this list. And this one, many people believe should be an official Jack the Ripper victim. So if you are still here, thank you very much for watching. I hope my rant wasn't too much, but I do think sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in the story of Jack the Ripper and sort of miss that these were real people and some absolutely woeful things did happen to them. If you're enjoying this, do the channel a favour, hit that subscribe button. I'm Owen, you've been watching The Pub Test, and we will see you on the next one.